In a city where the skyline sparkled with the glass towers of billionaires' lairs, an invisible line separated the lives of the ultra-wealthy from the rest of society. A single whispered question began to echo through the streets. What if their existence was our downfall? As dawn broke over opulent penthouses and crowded tenements alike, whispers turned into murmurs of discontent. The disparity was glaring, yet the solution seemed impossible. Who would dare to challenge the untouchable titans of industry? And what if the key to a fairer society lay not in policies and politics, but in a secret buried deep within the very foundations of wealth itself? The time had come to uncover the truth hidden in plain sight. In a fair and just society, the existence of billionaires is fundamentally incompatible with the principles of equity, democracy, and social welfare. The argument against the existence of billionaires is not merely rooted in envy or resentment but in the understanding of the profound societal implications of extreme wealth concentration. This argument unfolds across multiple dimensions, including economic inequality, democratic erosion, ethical considerations, and the practical impacts on societal well-being. Let us delve into these arguments to illustrate why billionaires should not exist in a fair society. Economic inequality. The existence of billionaires exacerbates economic inequality, which is a significant impediment to a fair society. When a small fraction of the population holds a disproportionate amount of wealth, it leads to a severe imbalance in economic power and resources. According to Oxfam, the world's richest 1% have more than twice as much wealth as 6.9 billion people. This disparity is not merely a statistical anomaly but a reflection of systemic issues that perpetuate poverty and limit social mobility. Economic inequality manifests in various detrimental ways. Firstly, it undermines equal opportunity. In a fair society, everyone should have a reasonable chance to succeed regardless of their background. However, extreme wealth concentration means that the wealthy can afford superior education, healthcare, and networking opportunities, which are often out of reach for the majority. This entrenches privilege and perpetuates a cycle of poverty for those at the bottom of the economic ladder. Secondly, economic inequality stifles economic growth. Studies by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the Organization for Economic Company Operation and Development, OECD, suggest that high levels of inequality can hinder economic development. When wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, consumer spending decreases because the majority have less disposable income. This reduction in spending power leads to lower demand for goods and services, which can slow down economic growth and innovation. Democratic erosion. The existence of billionaires poses a significant threat to democratic principles. In a fair society, democracy should reflect the will and needs of the majority, not the interests of a wealthy elite. However, billionaires have the financial clout to exert disproportionate influence over political processes, policies, and institutions. Billionaires can fund political campaigns, lobbyists, and think tanks to shape legislation in their favor. This often leads to policies that prioritize the interests of the wealthy over the needs of the general populace. For instance, tax policies in many countries are skewed to benefit the rich, providing them with loopholes and lower tax rates compared to the middle and lower classes. This undermines the concept of a fair tax system where everyone contributes their fair share based on their ability to pay. Moreover, the influence of billionaires can erode trust in democratic institutions. When people perceive that the political system is rigged in favor of the wealthy, it leads to disillusionment and apathy among the electorate. This disengagement weakens democratic participation and can pave the way for populist movements that exploit public frustration, further destabilizing the political landscape. Ethical considerations. From an ethical standpoint, the existence of billionaires in a world where millions struggle to meet basic needs is deeply problematic. The moral argument against billionaires centers on the concept of distributive justice, the idea that resources should be distributed in a manner that ensures everyone has access to what they need to live a dignified life. Philosophers like John Rawls argue that a fair society is one in which social and economic inequalities are arranged to benefit the least advantaged members. In a world with billionaires, this principle is starkly violated. While billionaires amass fortunes that could never be spent in a lifetime, millions lack access to essential services such as healthcare, education, and clean water. This disparity highlights a profound moral failure to ensure that basic human needs are met. Furthermore, the accumulation of wealth by billionaires often involves exploiting labor, resources, and regulatory environments. Many billionaires have built their fortunes through practices that harm workers, degrade the environment, and skirt around legal and ethical standards. For example, the labor conditions in factories producing goods for some of the world's wealthiest individuals are often deplorable, with workers receiving meager wages and working in unsafe conditions. Societal well-being. A fair society prioritizes the well-being of all its members, not just a privileged few. The concentration of wealth in the hands of billionaires undermines social cohesion and stability, leading to a host of societal problems. One of the most pressing issues is the impact on public services. When wealth is concentrated among a few, it reduces the tax base that funds essential public services such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. This can lead to underfunded and overburdened public systems, which disproportionately affect the poor and middle class. In contrast, a fair society would ensure robust funding for public services, providing equal access to quality healthcare, education, and other critical services. Moreover, extreme wealth concentration can lead to social unrest. Historical and contemporary examples show that societies with high levels of inequality are more prone to social conflicts, protests, and even revolutions. The sense of injustice and frustration among those who feel left behind can fuel divisiveness and instability, undermining social harmony and peace. Final thoughts. In conclusion, the existence of billionaires is antithetical to the principles of a fair society. Economic inequality, democratic erosion, ethical considerations, and the adverse impacts on societal well-being all point to the inherent problems posed by the concentration of wealth among a few individuals. A fair society should strive for a more equitable distribution of resources, ensuring that everyone has access to the opportunities and services necessary for a dignified and fulfilling life. Addressing the issue of billionaires requires systemic changes, including progressive taxation, stronger labor rights, and policies that promote wealth redistribution. It also necessitates a cultural shift towards valuing collective well-being over individual accumulation of wealth. By working towards a society where wealth is more evenly distributed, we can create a fairer, more just world where everyone has the chance to thrive.